Any real Skyrim fan has heard of Legendary difficulty. It's a damage modifier in which you receive 300% damage and you only deal 1/4 of what you normally would. But what about when you chuck in survival mode and a bunch of game-changing mods? I made one of Skyrim's hardest challenges even harder. I started out, as we all do in Skyrim, by riding the same wood as 4 other dudes, and I had been arrested and sentenced to death for looking way too normal. Sped through the character creation, I named him Greg, and after almost getting my noggin chopped off, it was prologue time. Everybody in Skyrim is apparently just a rampant racist, so I went with the lesser of two evils and sided with Hadvar. Whoa! You can't see that, but I can, and it is completely full. It was just here that I realized that this Skyrim playthrough was going to be about as peaceful as 1945 Germany. Oh my god. Not to worry though, because at least I was killing the enemies just as fast as they were killing me.
It's nothing.
It was here that I deployed my brand new and not in the slightest repurposed hide like a coward while the follower fights for you. And I'm sure it's the first and last time we'll be seeing that. After sneaking past the bear with the stealth of a pervert in the park, it was time to end the tutorial and join the world of Skyrim. As I got outside, I realized I was over encumbered and could no longer run. My stamina bar was depleting from just walking, and I got a message telling me I was peckish. Shit. Now the tutorial was over, survival mode had kicked in and wasted no time in its very first attempt at fingering me with the same force as Shane Gillis at max speed.
You all can square it, actually.
I'll fill you in on the details of survival mode as we progress through the game, but all you really need to know for now is that the fingering gets faster and drier as we progress. I'll explain further when we get to Whiterun. The SpongeBob feet. It's working. The best possible start I could get for what I wanted to do was to head up to Riverwood and link up with my main bitch Faendal, who would join me as a follower once I helped deliver his simp letter. This will allow me to not only get his house key for somewhere to live and temporarily store my things, but I can also pay him to raise my archery skill, subsequently providing me with sweet XP, only to then take the gold straight back off of him because he is in fact a little bitch. Defeating the very first dragon was my first checkpoint in this run. It also served as a bit of a teller as to whether I would actually be able to do this ridiculous challenge that I'd set myself up for, and some nice early XP would help secure that goal. And then my fucking game broke, and it turned out that it was the waifu mod, which sucks. So unfortunately, Greg is now dead. However, this is my brand new character, Jodzilla. Why is he called Jodzilla, you might ask? Because he's a massive puss. After painstakingly retracing every single step and arriving at Whiterun, I decided to use an age-old exploit, not a cheat, and I clipped under the map with the intention of robbing Jarl and Greyman of everything he owns, because why the fuck would you put all of your shit in an extremely accessible chest? While I take his entire stock for a very specific 1,000 gold, which I'll get to in a second, I'll explain my loot mod. It's called Scarcity, and what it does is reduce the amount of loot I find in containers, like chests and the corpses of my slain enemies. This mod is ruining my life. This in turn then makes the loot that vendors hold 6 times as rare, which sounds great on paper, but with my carry weight being cut in half, holding things to then sell for gold is also significantly more difficult. Luckily, this is slightly alleviated by having a follower. Speaking of followers, nailed it. Okay.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
The reason I found that 1,000 gold completely fair and square was so that I could buy this extremely overpriced horse. The reason being, in survival mode, there is no fast travel. Of all the things in this run that made me want to castrate myself with a pencil, this was probably the worst one. I can deal with periodically catching and cooking some fish so that I don't starve to death. That shit is easy. What I can't deal with is having to traverse the entire Skyrim map on a horseback like some kind of peasant. I took my new horse back to Riverwood to speak to Greg, and he's all like,
"My sister's a whore. Fetch me my claw."
So I did. What's that? Skyrim survival mode has lubed his fingers up once again and insisted that I bend over. Temperature is apparently a thing now, which means that the colder I get, the more max HP I lose. It's kind of like heroin. The more you do it, the more you need it. You can stand near fires or wear warmer clothes to get, well, warmer. This also affects what gear you choose to wear, because they now have armor and warmth ratings, but at this point, I just kind of picked whatever was the warmest because everything killed me in one hit anyway, because I am as fragile as a ginger kid in the sun. Bleak Falls Barrow is where I discovered that it's not just enemies that deal 3 times damage. Turns out I am just 3 times as much of a pussy in general. After playing Australia Simulator and retrieving the Golden Claw, it was time to fight the Draugr Lord, and can you guess what? Hide like a coward when the follower fights for you. Weirdly enough, in the game about dragons, there was a dragon. He was destroying a group of guards that had gone out to defend Whiterun, so being the straight up Chad that I am, I went to help out because at this point, I'm basically unkillable. I'm dead. Okay, please. You Heal. What? And then the game just absolutely shat itself. It was a disaster. Dragon, you got yourself up there. Now, I believe you can get yourself down. This has nothing to do with me, and you're kind of ruining my experience right now. So, but listen, Bethesda have a name for having completely balanced, functioning, and working games with no bugs. So if you could just... You're kind of making them look bad. So you can get down now. Okay. With that being about as obtainable as a blowjob from the Queen, I went to up my horse game. I now have the ability to store things inside my horse. That sounds weird. And I can call him from anywhere using this horn.
Fuck you.
Which I immediately broke like the special kid holding the class pet. After some questionably long traversal back to Whiterun and some distractions that even the ADHD gods themselves would be impressed with, it was time to fight the dragon once again. But first, speaking of distractions, on my way back to Whiterun, I encountered this camp of wizards. Now, typically, these camps might have like 5 or 6 people in them, but with my hand-placed enemies mod, there are a further 1,542 more enemies in Skyrim's dungeons and camps. Are you going to attack me? Hi. Oh, shit! Run!
As he snuck through the moonlight with a fully charged arrow, he approached from behind and zoomed in on the head. He was spotted and panicked.
Run away. We need. Oh, shit! Oh, fuck, run. Fucking run for your life. Oh! He's healing and flaming at the same time? How is he can't keep getting away with this? Oh, imagine being you. The guards have been alerted. They're checking out the corpse. Little do they know, they're about to be my next victim. Oh, it's another one down! It's another one down! I'm crazy! I decided it was time to fix my horse. So I got a lift with the horse and cart man back to where I saw him last, and just as I got off the back of the cart after smearing peanut butter all over my dick and balls in a last-ditch attempt at luring my horse back to me, he just kind of showed up, which was lucky. And then he licked my butt. There was a lady in Whiterun that was all like,
Fight me, bitch!
so I kicked her head in and she promptly joined my team. It's time for us to part ways. I'm sorry, Ferndale, but your time here has expired. After more playtime than I would care to admit, I was finally capable of fighting the very first dragon again. Now is the time. I'm not even sorry. Oh, that guy got fucked up. Oh, no. He's almost there. He's almost there. Last it. Last it. We win. We win. Finally. After that, it was time to go and meet the Greybeards, who do in fact look like what you see when you take your motorcycle to get repaired, and they were all like,
"A cat is your race, spit in my face."
So I did. On the way back to Whiterun, I stopped off in a tavern to get a well-needed night's rest. Yes, Alva. These are fucking nice chebs, man. It was when I got back that I decided to devote some time to leveling my enchantment skill in order to actually get some good gear. Now, I didn't want to go crazy with it, but I did want to give it a shot. It was time to actually put Skyrim's mechanics to use instead of just like blindly firing arrows at things and hoping that my follower would clean up the mess. I spent the next, what felt like 36 hours of my life grinding. It wasn't fun. I was stuck in a Groundhog Day of finding and buying soul gems, most of which were empty that I would have to then go and fill with the souls of enemies, using those to enchant iron daggers, sell the daggers to get more resources, and then it was rinse and repeat. It was about as much fun as getting a prostate exam from the Hulk, and I had to work harder than an ugly stripper in a classy establishment. It was rough. By the end of it, I was ready to craft myself some items that would hopefully change the course of the entire run. I had 2 enchantments. One that made bows do more damage, which I put on 3 pieces of gear, and one that increased my max health. All I can say is, there's no way the bad guys are going to survive. Yeah! You see, because of my editing prowess there, that looked like I'm murdering like a bunch of people, but what you didn't see was that I still do about as much damage as a toddler in a full-on fist fight with John Jones. And then I returned the Golden Claw. And now it was time to pop 6 Adderall and focus the fuck up. I had come into contact with Meridia's Beacon, and if you've ever played Skyrim before, you know that it is now my sole objective to get it as far away from me as fast as possible.
A new hand touches the beacon.
Fuck! Hit her up with the Jods. Ooh, you need to move, Ant. You need to move. You need to... Dude, come on. I didn't want to see that. The motivation to get this beacon out of my inventory was burning more than my dick when I pee. I charged to Dragon Bridge, creative name. I shoved that beacon back in its hole like an incel finally getting some, and fought my way through the first room of ghostly enemies, but it didn't take long for me to realize that this just was not viable, and the 300% incoming damage very well may have been too much. Okay, now... What the fuck just happened? So I tried a new strategy. I'm so good. I found the secret. It's just run past the enemies until I got to the boss. You see, in and amongst all the really brave running and screaming, I'd left my follower behind and could no longer use my favorite strategy. Hide like a cow while the follower fights for you. I can't get back out. I can't get back out. I can't get back out. Okay. What the fuck am I going to do? It's not doable. I can't do it. For this one, I was all alone. So I hatched another plan that we're going to name Run and Hide Like a Bitch after every arrow you fire, or you will die to the ice-slinging wizard man. Yes! And I leveled up! Fuck you, Skyrim. Open the door. Fire the arrow. Close the door. Run away. Are we ready? Are we ready? Are we ready? I can't believe this is working. One more and this guy's dead. Come on! Suck it, you spectral sack of dicks! Retrieve Dawnbreaker! So, I quickly watched Belle Delphine kill another lizard. Next up was a brief party crash, breaking an old man out of his retirement home, taking said man back to Riverwood so he can get some nugget. That sounds weirdly familiar. And then I went to the Wall of Alduin, and this is a fantastic opportunity to hide like a cow. This wall looks like someone had a bucket of cement and then sneezed. Like, none of the things he's saying actually match up with what the wall looks like in the slightest. After about 3 real-time days of horse traversal, I was back with the motorcycle gang for the Throat of the World quest, which I'm pretty sure... I can't believe I even typed these words, which I'm pretty sure was also my mum's nickname in college. I visited Parthenax, who was about as much use as a foot with no toes on it, and now I'm hunting for an Elder Scroll like Scooby-Doo looking for clues as to who took a shit in the grit salt bin. I realised that I'd gone back down from the Parthenax visit in such a rush that I forgot to tell Uthgerd, my trusty follower, to... well, follow me. So she's still stood up there with nipples that could actually cut glass, and I thought, hey, I could make this yet again more painful for myself and leave her up there, continuing on to beat the rest of this game completely alone. Uh-oh. Oh, no! I would like to die now. Immediately after this, I decided that not only leaving my follower behind was a good idea, I decided to install another mod at this point that makes the dragons even more powerful, because apparently there are more brain cells in a patch of fungus than there are in the useless lump of grey matter that resides in my skull. Just in case you didn't believe me about how many more bad guys there are with the hand-placed enemies mod, I crafted a mass grave of Falmer. Look at that. I fought my way through the Underdark, and I retrieved the Elder Scroll, all without the use of hide like the follower. After yet another 3-hour horse ride, Godzilla now has hemorrhoids the size of ping pong balls and was finally ready to initiate the first combat with Alduin, which sucked. It was so bad. Listen, I don't even want to talk about it. After 3 real-time weeks worth of horse traversal and convincing all these big babies to show up to family game night and smashing them all at Monopoly, they came to an agreement. Those guys are going to take a piece of dirt and concrete that belongs to those guys and vice versa. Fucking stupid humans. After that, it was off to Whiterun as Jarl Balgruuf was kind enough to let me use his dragon bondage system. After some solid bestiality, he took me to the location at which the portal to Sovngarde resides, which is where we will find Alduin, King of the Cooks. You all know how it goes. It's a Skyrim dungeon. There's people alive that used to be dead, but this time there's dragons. I won't bore you with the details, but it took me like 2 shitting hours. Like, presidential meetings have taken place in less time. Once I arrived at Sovngarde, I had to traverse through the mist, where every so often a dude would jump out from behind a rock like,
I can't see a thing, lad. It's misty as fuck.
And then I had to fight this guy who provided me with a great reminder of how much damage I was actually doing. It's not a lot. After I rounded up the dead Nord Brigade, it was time for Godzilla to put an end to Alduin's reign of AIDS and bring peace to Skyrim. Until the Imperials and Stormcloaks start murdering each other again, but we don't talk about that. This fight, compared to the previous one, was easier than not dying of suffocation in an oxygen-rich environment. It was night and day. Easy to breathe, complete suffocation from your nan's dusty cheeks. I had my backup fully prepared and ready to fight like their afterlives depended on it, and all little old John had to do was sit off to the side, shoot some arrows, and tell the dragon to get his ass back down here whenever he decided to fly off. And after the fattest right hook you've ever seen, Jodzilla, the true Dragonborn, returned to the land of the living and was praised by all the filthy mortals until the end of his days, where he died surrounded by cocaine and hookers. The end. I'll see you in a bit.